good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Dwayne-Ross, the host of Passion2Profits TV. How you doing? I hope everything is good. We have another one of those shows where I want you to get your pen out because you're probably going to take some notes because we're going to be talking about some things that will kind of really get you connected to your dream. Remember, I am the host of this show, Passion2Profits TV, but also the author of the book no More Crumbs from the Table, where we celebrate you discovering your tag, your talent, your ability, your gift, and putting it to work in the earth. And when you put it to work in the earth, amazing things happen. So, welcome tonight. We are going to be talking about that thing. You guys know I teach the class. It's that camera. It's that camera. See, you can just point and shoot and click and come up with any old kind of thing. Who knows? But when you have a passion for what's behind the lens, things can change. And tonight, I have a gentleman who has the passion to get behind the lens and make sure that he tells a story that you won't forget. Now, he could be telling the story of your children, he could be telling the story of your wedding, but maybe he might be telling a story that becomes a historical moment. One of the greatest photographers that we have in the African American community was a self taught photographer named Gordon Parks. Gordon Parks died in 2006 at 93, but before he did, he left a legacy of pictures that just captured the imagination of America. But more than that, he told stories that inspired people to make moves, to take action, to think about the life that they're living. Because that's what photography can do. So I have a gentleman that's going to come on. His name is Mr. Steven Reese Sr. But before I do that, let me share a little bit about Mr. Parks so we can set the stage. And then we're going to bring Mr. Steven in to really get this thing going. Check.
Kansas in 1912, the youngest of 15 children. He credited his mother, Sarah, who died when he was 16, with giving him confidence and strength, even growing up amid poverty and prejudice. Parks spoke of his childhood in a 1997 NewsHour interview.
The disadvantage sometimes pushes you, if you use it right, because you want to rid yourself of those things that hurt you emotionally when you're coming up.
Inspired by the work of Dorothea Lange, Walker Evans, and other Depression-era photographers he saw in magazines, Parks first picked up a camera at the age of 25. In St. Paul and then Chicago, he took portraits, including Marva Trotter Lewis, a performer, model, and wife of boxer Joe Louis. He befriended and photographed leading African-American artists and scholars, including Langston Hughes, Charles White, Elaine Locke. And he did his first journalism, covering Eleanor Roosevelt's visit to a Southside community center. Parks called the camera his choice of weapons.
Gordon Parks always had a sense that media, the camera and photography and writing and media could be a very important tool in helping the world to understand the image of African American people. And it was through that understanding that you could make the world a better place.
In 1942, Parks was awarded a prestigious fellowship, allowing him to work as a photographer for the Farm Security Administration. His first assignment, documenting African American life in Washington, D.C., then a deeply segregated city. Among his early works, this photo of a young boy who lost his leg in a streetcar accident.
I was really struck by, how intense the relationships are in the picture.
The relationships between
the photographer and the boy, but also the relationship between the boy and the two girls sitting across the street.
Yeah.
These are things that Parks put them there for us to find.
Yeah.
And he knew he was doing that.
It was here Parks created one of his most famous photos, a portrait of Ella Watson, a cleaning lady in a government building.
I'd first ask her about her life, what it was like, and it was so disastrous that I just felt that I must photograph this woman, and in a way that would make me feel, or make the public feel about what Washington, D.C. was in 1942.
The now iconic image, called American Gothic after the famed painting by Grant Wood, was part of a larger series on Watson, her family, and community. An extended photo essay style that Parks would go on to use throughout his career.
Parks, often he would meet people and he would talk to them. He would learn their stories. He would understand who they were, long before he would ever bring along a camera. He was able to use his own experiences and his own struggles to understand and empathize with others.
In 1944, Standard Oil hired Parks as a photographer. He would continue to hone his craft and earn his first real paycheck, traveling around the country shooting scenes and portraits like this one of an oil worker at the Panola grease plant in Pittsburgh.
What he's done is he's created a portrait of a heroic African-American worker working for Standard Oil. This is an amazingly technical photograph to produce. And
this, but I got to tell you, one of the things that you want to do is take time to meet someone who gets behind that camera and tells a story. So today, I bring to you for the first time in my show, Mr. Steven A. Reese Sr. Hey man, how you doing, sir? What's
Hey,
going
I'm doing
on?
outstanding, man. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I know we had a little touch and go trying to get this together, but I'm really excited about it and ready to share some of the experiences I've had.
Yeah, I started off with someone who also took some pictures, and he wasn't trying to be like the prolific guy that he became. He was just telling stories, and he said his choice of weapon was the camera because he wanted people to feel with what was behind the lens. Talk to us, Stephen A. Reese, about how you decided to pick up a camera and start telling stories.
Well, the very first time I picked up a camera, I was about 18 years old. Never really thought about at that time taking pictures the way I take them now. It took me several years, and then I all of a sudden start having people ask me, "Hey, do you have this picture for this? Do you have this picture for that?" But I was just simply just giving them to them, and then it took my younger brother who had just started a business. He said, you ought to, your pictures are great. Why don't you try to open a business doing this?" And it really took me for a while to really come up with a title of the company because, I wanted my name in it. But unfortunately, there are a lot of Steven Reeses that take photography. So I decided about what I try to do. I'm trying to capture a moment in time to where when I take this picture, it'll never be able to be taken the same way again. Even if I took a picture and waited 5 seconds, it's two different pictures. So I decided to name my company Steven's Captured Moments.
Wow, Stevens captured moments. And that is so powerful because you said something that I really love because I have only two pictures of my mother. I grew up in a situation where me and my brother we wound up in foster care under the, because of what happened with my mom passing early. And I remember I was just so like I need to find this picture. I know there's a picture of my mom somewhere, and we had this huge group of like all kind of stuff, and there was this one picture, and then I found that picture, and I was able to find a picture also of my father. So captured moments are so important because it's this idea that you can lock time,
Hmm.
and you can lock
That's exactly
time
what it is.
forever, right? And as long
Right.
as people take care of that medium, it's pretty much a forever situation. However, back in the day, that wasn't possible, right? Because it would fade over time.
Yes.
Talk about how today you help people capture moments and what's the difference of how it was then and how it is now and what you do to help them preserve these memories?
Well, back then, again, when I took those pictures, I call myself trying to preserve them and take care of them and do this, but the ones that I was taking were nowhere near the type of subject that I'm taking now. A lot of my inspiration that came from was from my uncle. He was a army sergeant in Vietnam, and when I was a little kid, I used to look at all of his old black and white photos, and I didn't know if these people were still around or not. And that's what really inspired me to start taking my own, because I had actually served in the Marine Corps for 20 years during that time. And I wanted to be able to look at the same memories that he looked at just from my perspective. So now I'm thankful the way things are with the digital world has happened so quickly. I remember having an old digital camera where you had the old disc you used to put in. It had maybe 6 megapixels, and the things that they have now are just phenomenal. And you can keep them either electronically or you can print them hard copies. So you have so many different variations to be able to preserve those things, to pass them down to your children or even your grandchildren.
Yeah, you said something again that's really, really important because today I found that people are really looking for a way to have a legacy product, something that they can pass on and let the world know they were here. And one really cool way is photography. Is
Yes.
that one picture that you can go back and go, wow, look at this. You look like Grandma. You look like great grandma. You look like Uncle Joe.
Very
And so,
true.
so you at the family reunion and you say, oh, that looks like me, and they're like, no,
Yes.
baby, that ain't you. That's your Uncle Bob, from back in 1944. He was over such, and you were like, really? You can't even believe it. That is you.
Yeah.
And I posted a picture of my son Joseph, and Joseph is light skinned, and I have Jonathan, and he's darker skinned, right? But when people see Jonathan, they automatically make the connection. But when they see Joseph, they don't always do. Until I posted this one picture where we happened to be in a shadow at the football game, after the football game, and all my friends from high school who was part of my Facebook group, they were like, "Oh my gosh, and I was so excited. But that's what drew me to photography. I remember I was in middle school when I got my first camera. But here's what happened with me. I was excited, and if you remember, they had these little magazines, right? They had the magazine, and in the back of the magazine it says you could be a photographer.
Oh yeah,
Do you
I
remember
remember
them?
seeing those.
And,
Yeah, I
and
remember
so
those.
I was like, yes, I can be a photographer, right? And I got my little camera and I went outside and I took pictures. And we had a rainstorm, and it was we had a over freeze, and when it froze the trees a certain way. And I took these pictures, and it was
Oh wow.
icicles and stuff sliding
Hmm.
down the house and outside. And my aunt, she was like, Dwayne, this is beautiful. And I remember in the dark room before we could actually see it. I was in there with the deck tall and everything. I'm waiting for it to come, and then it started emerging. Talk about, Stephen, the fact that people are doing digital photography, right? But photography was an art. It was a skill. It was working with light. It was making things that you didn't even know were there, and then all of a sudden they would emerge out of what you had seen as the artist behind the lens. Talk about being behind the
I
lens.
think, and that's a great idea. I think most of the photography that you don't even, how can I say, most of the photography that I've ran across is something that you don't actually even attempt or put a lot of effort towards. Sometimes based on the lighting, based on the ambient light outside or a certain angle of your lighting that you put up, you don't even realize that you may bring out something that you never believed. I had gone to the beach one time and I just had a little Kodak 35 millimeter. The thing, what the only thing, I remember the ones we used to put the cube flash on the top of. And I was at the beach and I just took a picture of my car. And I waited a few days and, I didn't necessarily have a dark room, but I had them developed. And what amazed me right at that angle, I didn't see it during the picture, but it was almost like a sun ring around the car. And I thought it was a really beautiful shot that I didn't even try to attempt to do. But it's just that moment when you take that shot, the lighting is just right, the expression on the person is just right, and that's just how it is. I'll tell you a quick little story about one picture
Hmm.
I had taken. I told you earlier that I live in Charlotte, and I was right down in the middle of all of the riots and everything that was going on. And as they were speaking, I just turned around and I saw this young man. It just put a power fist up in the air, and behind him there was a blurred poster that had "Not One More." And when I looked at that picture and I saw it in color, I'm like, it looks good. But then I went back to black and white, which is my favorite, and I took the color out and I added a little detail to it. No Photoshop. I just edited the photo, and that is by far probably one of my most favorite photos. And I'm hoping that the right person sees that photo and just is as amazed by it as I was. I even have a 5x7 in my house right now on my table, and just let people know, this is what I do. This is what I love doing. I can't think of any object of something that I can say I love except photography.
That's the whole premise of the show, right? It's not, people get caught up in the word profit when I say it, because passion to profit. But the reality is, there's a passion for you to be on purpose. When you're on purpose, it can drive your passion just as much as your passion can drive your purpose. It's kind of like a synergistic relationship where
Right.
the two of them together is unmatched. And so I really look for people to discover themselves within that. And it sounds like you had a way to find yourself and found, what kind of stories you wanted to tell. So you just mentioned this idea or this situation that happened, or this event that you were in down in Charlotte during
Yes.
this time when it was unrest, right? And
Yes.
people were protesting against what's going on in the world. The world was awakened to the systemic racism at the level that it was, and all of the different murders that had happened, that
Hmm.
we had to really call it a murder instead of just like somebody else got killed by the police. It was
Right.
more of like, yo, this was like a front end seat to see if this dude is
Yes.
doing this right here on TV just like it's nothing else. Well, imagine what's happening behind the scenes. Take us to that moment when you saw that fist go up and you had your camera. How were you feeling? What were you thinking? And then what do you do with that after you take a
at
picture such
at
as
the
that?
time I didn't really understand what I had. Most of the time, if I take a photo, I'll get a quick look at it before I go to the next one. I did not realize what I had until I got home, until I looked at it from different variations. Again, uh, to me, I love color. I mean, I really like color, but it's something about a black and white photo, and it just has much more power behind it as far as you doing it. And again, it really just blew me away when I saw it for the first time. And as it's passed on, unfortunately, we are having even more protests. I've been to pretty much all five of them that they actually had. And luckily, there wasn't any type of violence during that time. But it was just every time I take a picture, I had that same thought process. If I take this picture and I adjust it, or it may come out perfect the first time, I try to ask myself, is someone going to see this picture and be touched by it, or something will stir within them to make them either want to take photography or find out why situations like this are happening. My ultimate goal is just to have that one picture or several pictures that after I'm long gone, someone could say, wow, I know that guy who took that picture. He's an amazing photographer. And that's, I think, any person in any type of artist, be it photographer or anything, wants to be remembered for something significant. If you could look at a lot of different photos from the raising of the flag on Mount Suribachi, just like this young man right here. Um, all of those photos that you're looking at right here, all of those were in color at one time. But I wanted to either make them faded or black and white, just to give people some kind of idea of even what was running through his mind. This young man, he is in college right now. His dad's a really great friend of mine, and it's almost like, what is he thinking about waiting on his date, going places. But that's my ultimate goal. I want to have a John F. Kennedy photo. I want to have a I want to have a Jack Ruby shooting Oswald photo that people are looking at from years to come. And if I can accomplish that, I think I did really well as a photographer.
Yeah, you talked about the idea of even coming up with your name. You wanted your name in it, but then you came to this place. Stephen captures the moment, right? And
Yes.
you get those moments, and it's interesting that you said that because I don't think anybody was expecting to catch the picture of Jack Ruby shooting. But then again, you wonder, was he ready? What
No, he wasn't.
no, I'm saying, was he ready? Because he had his camera, his greatest
Right.
weapon. He had that thing that could capture the moment. And
Right.
if you think about it, how many times have you been in places and spaces where you didn't have your camera and you were like, man, I wish I would have had my right?
What I do is I make sure I keep. I don't care um, if it's a little, fixed lens camera, or even if it's my mirrorless or something. Because I use the DSLR, and I use a mirrorless, which blew me away. I didn't even know about mirrorless cameras until someone suggested I try one, and now that I have it, that's my primary camera. Um, and in actuality, just before maybe I think around 4 o'clock, I did some headshots in my studio that I actually have in my house. I did some headshots for a young lady, and I thought she was coming tomorrow. Luckily, I had the lighting and everything set up, and she had her makeup done, and we were able to get done within about 45 minutes to an hour um, of that shoot. But I like having it because I don't know how other photographers are, but sometimes you could just be driving through the city and you don't mean to do it, but some color or something catches your eye.
Yep.
And if you have that camera, if it's nothing more than being able to pull over real quick and take a picture of that mural, or just take a picture of someone just interacting, I think some of the greatest photos are the ones that are just candid photos. They're just going about their business. They're doing their things. I once paid this gentleman about $5 or $6. He was homeless, and I say, "Look, I just want to take some pictures of you. Just go about doing what you're doing." And this man had everything he owned in this one little spot. He seemed to be, I mean, he was coherent, but it was just the pictures. And then when I tweak the color, because I like to do, if I take one picture, I like three variations of it. I like to have a vivid one, I have like a fade one, and one on black and white. And based on which one looks the best, those are the ones I actually present or put on my page to where people could see it or admire it or even maybe not like it. Like this gentleman right here, that picture was taken down in Charleston, South Carolina, outside the Hotel Bennett. And I even did a PowerPoint for them for these pictures and stuff there behind some music. And I think with their color, their choice in colors, the way the hotel was, just like this candid picture. These are the kind of pictures I love capturing right here because they're in a natural element. You're not telling them what to do. Right here, he was so overcome emotion. His son, his new stepson, they're crying because they're finally a family, and what's running through his mind is the same thing as running through my mind. And this is his beautiful wife right here. But again, I encourage people to have some type of thing that keeps them going. I feel that when I take these pictures, I have a purpose because people want to see these things, and I don't take anything away from people with their little cell phones and all that. That's fine. But to be able to go ahead and just experience and just see people interacting and just capturing that moment, and the best way is, I found out you go up there and you ask people, look, I really like to take this picture of you. I'm not a creep, but I like to take this picture of you. If you give me your information, I'd be happy to send it to you. And you never know how you'll build not only a relationship with them, but you all even build a business because if it's good and they enjoy it, they're going to talk about you and ask about you. Most of my business is done mostly by word of mouth.
Hmm. This is awesome because you said your brother was the one who recognized it as a business. And
Yes.
we talk about the entrepreneurial spirit here in this show because personally, I've done a lot of different things myself, so I know what you mean when you're like, hey, you're a jack of all trades, master of what, right? And then I found out that I had to go back and it was Steve Jobs who said a lot of times you can't connect the dots until you go back and look at the dots.
Right.
So a lot of times you think you're doing all these different things, but then when you go back and you see the synergy between them, now you can say, wait a minute, I see what's happening here. And you was discovering some stuff.
Right.
You discovered you were over 20 years old when you got to this point to move forward, right?
Right.
Right? So you was like, listen, I could really do something with this because you didn't see it as a business. You didn't
No,
see it
I
as a
didn't.
profit. You just saw it as a joy and something that you just enjoy, love to do. But
I'm hoping
to,
nobody takes this literally. Whether I get paid for it or not, it's not. I mean, I enjoy when I do. I love doing it, but it's not really about the money.
I
It's
know.
about just going out and just picking a day and just going to downtown Charlotte or just going to the mountains. Uh, Again, my wife and I, we plan on going up to Biltmore House in Asheville during the spring when the flowers are out. And it's just a beautiful area. And I like showing these and sharing these with people. Now, if someone says, well, look, I'd like you to do our family photos and this and that, I would enjoy doing it, but it isn't the end all be all of why I do photography.
Right. And that's what I want to get back to because you said the words that I had talked about, we talked about even before the show, the purpose, right? And the
Right.
thing about passion and purpose is that thing you would do and you will like you don't even worry about getting paid, but it's cool when people will pay you
Yeah.
for it, right?
It's
Because it's
very,
the
yeah.
fact that you're driven by the work that you do. You're not driven by profit. Somebody I had a conversation not too long ago because I'm doing a rebranding and branding and everything like that. And like, well, oh, don't you want to make money? I was like, yeah, I do want to make money. I really do, but I'm not driven by the money. I'm driven by
Right.
helping people tell their stories.
Right.
I'm driven by giving people an opportunity to have a platform that they can share. And because of that, I hope to get paid. And I really got to figure that out because I use my own money and I don't have no
Right.
sponsors and all that stuff. But I want to have this conversation with you, Stephen A. Reese Sr., regardless of whether somebody bought a piece of advertisement on my show or not.
Right.
That's why my guests don't pay to be on my show. Other people they charge their guests to be on their show, and their guests will handsomely pay it because they get the exposure. But I'm not looking to do that. But I
I
really want
think
to.
I think right now is that, and this is just my opinion. Some people may think differently. I think if you don't have a love or passion toward what you do, be it photography, be it anything that you do, I really believe that you won't be as good at it as if you like to. I mean, you have to enjoy doing what you do, and I truly enjoy it. It may be some times where I may just go downtown and just take street scenes. And what I'm doing is I didn't go to school or anything like that. I mean, my instructor was been just trial and error, YouTube videos. Even some of the people who teach you tell you, look at YouTube. You have, in this generation that we're in right now, you have access to so much information. You're a Google or YouTube video away from knowing exactly what you want. And that's how I've learned from lighting techniques to different uh, poses to different types of photography that I like to do because, I have my business card, but I do boudoir, I do headshots, I do sports teams, I do candid, athletic programs and all of these things. I do all of these things. But again, I say that you have to enjoy it. You have to want to do it. If you're sitting there like, oh, I just got to grab my camera and go take a couple pictures, I promise you they're going to look the same way as your attitude presents itself.
Ooh, that's powerful. Say that again. That's one of them platinum nuggets I was telling you I might stop you. It's like, wait. Say that again. What did you say?
Well, I
What
say
stop them?
again, if you have to have the proper attitude toward what you're doing. If you have a bad attitude to taking photos, the photos are going to reflect your attitude. You're not going to be standing correctly. You're not going to be aiming correctly. You're not going to be looking at those little nuances or those details about how you really want that photo. If it's nothing more than just, their hair being out of place, the way they place their hands, their shoulders, these joyous pictures right here of a woman and her mother enjoying the day along with her friends out there enjoying the day. It speaks volumes as far as how they're out there. They're having a great time. Uh, and these right here, not a lot of coaxing. Now I didn't have to tell them how they need to do stuff. They just interacted with one another because they enjoyed being with each other, and I enjoyed taking the pictures of them enjoying the time with each other.
Yeah, I can feel it, and people, you talk about this, and Gordon Parks said it. He captures emotion, and then when I talk to people, and right now because I'm doing coaching and I'm learning more about. I've been doing it for years, but didn't have a lexicon to support what I was doing. But it was the BEL model that they talk about, which is whenever you're doing something, you got to have all three things involved:
Right.
your body, your emotion, and your language. They need to line up. And what you're just saying is like, hey, if your passion, which is your attitude, if your attitude is incorrect, it's going to show up in how your body is. So you
Yeah.
may not put the camera lens the way that you need. Even holding
Exactly.
it, I see people holding it like this and holding it like that, right? And even when they got the grip, right? You got the grip, and they hold the grip.
Right.
They're like, it's like you have the grip. So now when you're taking that picture, try it this way, you know. Try to do
Yeah.
a natural hang and then go from there.
Hmm.
As opposed to this one where you like, I don't know which way. So talk to us, or what they forget, right?
Oh
And shout
yeah.
out to Joystick. This is the little table model. But my friend Joy, she's an African American female who invented this, and it's a really
Right.
cool tripod,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Talk about the difference between having the right equipment and not having the equipment at all when you're really in that moment to take these pictures, and what you can do to kind of
I
still
think
get the
I
moment.
yeah, I think with the when it comes to the equipment, um, you do need to have the proper equipment. A lot of people they need to understand that uh, you're in order to get quality equipment, you're going to have to pay quality dollar for it. You have some people that could jury rig certain things up. Instead of a tripod, they may have some bricks or something they could place their camera on. But not only do you want action of how you can build business, if someone comes out there and all they see is you having some little Kodak 35 millimeter camera and you're talking about you're a professional photographer, they may question you. So your equipment is a reflection of yourself. Right now, I used to use a basic DCLR, a Nikon 5500, and I have a Sony A6000. And that equipment, I put little accoutrements on it, extra stuff, just to make it appear as if it is more than what it is. But I also tell people that don't go out if you're a photographer. Don't go out and buy a $2,000 or $3,000 camera when you only have $100 worth of knowledge on it. Get what you can handle. Once you master that, then you can go and upgrade because a $2,000 camera and a $500 camera, based on your skill set, is going to take the same exact picture. So you want to make sure that you have that proper equipment that you need to do. If you know you're doing headshot photography, you want to have you want to make sure that you have a tripod the way you don't have a lot of moving around. As much as people think they're still, they're constantly moving. If nothing more, your heartbeat is moving that camera to the point where the picture may be blurry. But you want to not only have the right equipment, you want to have the equipment to portray that you are a professional photographer, that you try to carry yourself that way, and just make sure, as far as you said, like with your language, how you speak to people, how you adjust them and stuff. You have to be so careful in this age now that you have to know what your do's and don'ts. You need to set up. I know as you, Dwayne, about contracts and stuff that you have to do. So you want to make sure that all of those things are in place because, I used to say this even at my other job, if you look serious, people will take you serious. But if you look like a joke, that's how people are going to treat you.
Say that again. Wait, you look serious, people gonna take you serious, but if you look like a joke,
Exactly.
they
They
probably gonna
will.
be laughing at you behind your
Yeah, they're
back.
going to be laughing at you.
That's pretty good. Stephen, you also you talked about your inspiration, but now what inspires you to get behind the camera? Now, what is the thing that moves you emotionally? Like when you're looking for something in a photo, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for just something that's not planned. Um, I actually had someone tell me, look, I just want you to take some candid shots. We're not going to look at you. I just want you to capture our movement. I want you to capture at a wedding. I want you to capture how the bride is looking in the groom's eyes. I want you to capture the emotion of the crowd, of your guest, the laughter, the tears. These are the things that I'm really looking for, because these are the things that are not planned. And most of the time, if you plan a shot, yes, the shot can come out very good, but it just depends on what your client actually wants. Most of my weddings, I've never taken the group, with the bride and the groom. If they ask for it, I give it to them. But most of the time, I would prefer just seeing their emotional response to the event that they may be going through. So those are the kind of things that really inspire me. And I think those are probably my best photos that I've actually taken, with that non-staged photos, as far as when I'm out there doing that. So that's what really inspires me to capture, and I'm not, no pun intended, that's just how I like to capture the moment.
I was rolling with you, brother. I'm rolling with you. I got you, because that sounds so intentional, and I love it because for me, that's one of my pet peeves. I don't really want to stage because you know what, I say this a lot, and it's a lot of people that have these pictures where everybody's like
Yeah,
on the wall, right? But the frame is something totally different.
right.
And I love the fact that you were like, you know what, I want to capture that emotion of the new groom looking into his new wife's eye. I want to catch that emotion where this man just recognized that I'm a dad now to someone's child, that it changes the
Mm-hmm.
game because I made a decision to marry his mother, and here's this child having this 15-year-old birthday where all her little girlfriends, and they're just so excited, and that's way better than saying, okay everybody, cheese, right? So I love that you do this. Now, Gordon Parks, he did black and white, and you said that you shoot in all three modes. You'll do a color, you'll do
Kind of a faded.
faded, and then you do the black and white. And you said one of the things that you discovered is that you really like the black and white. Talk to us about what that does. What's the richness of black and white photography? Because I believe it's coming back. We always have those
Right.
Ansel Adam moments, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
that tree in the background and all this kind of stuff. But then we do have that Gordon Parks moment where somebody was getting the water, sprayed on them in New York City in the middle of Harlem when it was 100 degrees,
Right.
right? And
I've seen
you
that.
caught that, right? That's an iconic picture in our community. Or the young men who were standing next to the Bentley, all dressed up in suits, coming from like the store. They weren't
Right.
going to church. It was like they were all in suits, and they were like 9, 12, and 11. They was like, yeah, look at us, we good,
Yeah.
because back then we had some pride in that how we looked kind of thing before we got to
Right.
the place where cotton came to Harlem. So talk
Right.
about this idea of iconic pictures in the black and white versus the color as a photographer, what you're looking for in that, and then share with our listeners and those that will see on the replay how you go about preparing to do a shoot.
Okay. Well, the one thing I will say, the majority of my pictures, I never shoot a picture straight black and white. What I do is I try to look at the lighting of where I am, and I'll shoot the picture. All of them will always be in color. And what I do is what I offer my clients is I'll tell them, whatever picture I shoot, I'm gonna give you three different variations of it. I'll give you the original, or I'll add a little color to it. I'll make it I'll give one that's kind of a washed out look, but you can still see a slight color. And then I try to make a more distinctive color when it comes to black and white. But the amazing thing about black and white is it's hard for me to describe. It's just when you see it, you would think that it wouldn't be as much, but it's more simpler. When you have color has you looking at the colors and all that. But when you have something black and white, you're looking at more of the emotion in a person's face, the shadows of the face, depending on how that light is hitting it. And I've never seen too many professional photographers that have taken a black and white photo and it came out bad. It's just it just evokes a lot of emotion with that picture, with the shadows, with the light. Something as simple as if you're taking a picture and the reflection of a reflection of blinds is coming across a person's face. You don't really capture how important that is in color, but when you put it in black and white, like this photo right here, as I said before, when you put things in black and white, it just has more, and especially if the color, as far as their skin color, when you're taking those pictures like that, and it's in black and white, you really capture a lot of emotion. You capture a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily catch in a color picture. As far as my setup when I am doing photos, because in actuality, this photo, these I was a secondary photographer. The primary photographer, Toby King, had asked me to come in. So when he's taking it from one angle, I'm taking it for another. And I tell you that I love these photos because of this young lady, beautiful brown skin, very rich colored. But when I faded it and brought it out, it brought it out even more. But what I usually do is I ask them exactly what type of photos. I may make suggestions. Most of the time, if there's candid photos, I give them free reign on how they would like to pose. I may make a little small offhand joke to them just to get them to start laughing and just take the picture real quick. But it just capture those times to where they really enjoy it, and I like it because I always give them the opportunity to get more variation. Because some of these pictures they may want to print out, they may want to give to friends, they may want to use them depending on what event it is. I took some Christmas photos that I don't have on here right now, but I took some Christmas photos of my brother and his family. I had a Christmas backdrop, and I took a few photos of them. They were more staged, but they came out simply because of the skin color, the choice in dress, and a lot to me. That's how I pretty much set everything up as far as trying to give my clients the best product that I possibly can.
You said that you do boudoir, and so you do a variety of things, and so those require you to look at like the surroundings. What's
Yes.
what's not. What else is out there inside the photo, and I always tell in my class, I tell people, look beyond the lens, because you might be thinking of you taking a picture of this, but then there's a horse in the background somewhere jumping a fence.
I made a mistake like that one time. The very first time I did some boudoir photos, and people need to understand when you're taking photos about that, it ain't even really about the photo. It's about the trust. They have to trust you enough to take these photos because we're talking about a woman and maybe a suggestive outfit. You need to get to know who they are. They need to know that you're there for the photos and the photos only. And this picture right here, my wife had actually helped me out with these photos here. And it was funny that you said that because I had made a mistake. When I was taking photos of her, I didn't realize in the background there was a drawer open, or I saw a cell phone cord. And the photo was nice except for that. And I had to go ahead and try to redo them. And they turned out the way I wanted, and I presented a couple of them online. But like right here, if you hold that photo, you look right over there to the right. Had I had that drawer closed, that would have been a really nice photo. And I didn't want to crop it anymore. But a couple of the other ones I were able to get that look very nice. But there's some things you have to think about. As you said, you have to look at not only the person in the photo, but you need to look at the background, because if it's in a position where you cannot crop it or move it out of the way, you're going to take away from how nice the photo would have been.
Yeah, you wind up doing a lot of work in your post production, which today there's all kind of stuff you can actually remove people. I crack up sometime when I'll see these front cover magazines and they got this person with that person and this person. I said, y'all don't know that could be very well photoshopped.
Yes.
Photoshopping today, you can do on your phone with an app and just like swipe and remove the person and swipe and put somebody else in there. And it's crazy, right? You're like, I didn't know I
I
was
try
in
to stay
Alabama.
away.
What y'all talking about? I was in I was in South Carolina. It's like, no, we got you right here, bro. You got you right.
Yeah.
So talk
I try
about
to stay away. I really try to stay away from a lot of Photoshop because to me, I had a lot of mentors. Some of them are no longer with us, but when I was telling them how long, because I used to do um, certain conventions, I had my backdrops. People want to take their pictures, and I was telling him the problems I was having, and the one thing he told me, and it was the most simplest thing somebody could say. He said, "What you need to do is stop worrying about editing and take the picture right the first time. If you take it right the first time, you won't have to worry about your background, your backgrounds, what's here, what's there. Take the picture right the first time, and all you have to do is just print them out, get paid for it, and you can go and get the next one going on. But I try to do that now, but it's almost like I'm addicted to want to change the color a little bit here and that there. But I've gotten much better. When I know having to mass produce photos, I try to do it right the first time and then print them off and then get the next group in there.
that's important. And the thing is, I'm hearing an echo. I'm not sure, but anyway, this idea that take it right the first time. Sometimes you don't get a second chance to take those photos because if it's a
Very
wedding,
true.
right? If it's a wedding, you don't get another chance to say, "Oh, wait. Can you say now kiss the bride again so I can get that part?" you, you really have to be forward thinking and in the moment at the same time. You have to be like in two places with your mindset, thinking about the next step that they're about to take or what's getting ready to happen as well. And I love the fact that you even was in the situation where you were the second, you weren't the primary, but you captured all of those emotions.
Right.
You were able to catch that smile. You were able to catch that look on the side, that little, whatever, that nuance that somebody
Hmm.
would probably see, and that's the one that they want to put on the wall, right?
Right.
So really, really, really cool. Um, we have about 7 minutes left, around, and before we start wrapping up and getting to the end, I really want to know, like, business wise during COVID. Now you got everybody's like inside. There's not,
Hmm.
has it, how has this last year impacted you as far as your photography and your business and what you were shooting maybe before versus now and things of that nature? What's been the impact?
It has slowed down a great deal. Um, what I found myself is most of the time I've actually had to go out and ask people, you know, would you like the photographs? And then if they're of a mindset, because we know what 2020 has been like, um, most of the time they have agreed, or either they say, well, let's do it in the spring when things are a little bit better. And it's ironic that you asked that yes, it does slow down, but it seems to be now wanting to pick up. What I found myself doing is engaging people a little bit more, as far as give my business card and say, look, I think that maybe you and I could do some business together, or I like to see if I can take some photos, give you the photos. If you like them, we could set up an actual professional shoot, and then do it like that. But it's slowly but surely picking back up due to the change in season, the change with COVID-19. And actually, I have, just like the one I did today, um, I have a very unusual shoot. The gentleman is taking his wife out for her birthday, and he wants me to capture some shots as they're getting out of their limousine, as they're interacting downtown, doing certain things together, which I thought is very unusual. But maybe nobody else has ever did that for an actual client. They may have did it for a magazine or something like that. So I'm really looking forward to doing those because I want to show people that the my ability as far as doing certain photos, whatever you want me to do photos for, I'm gonna find a way to give you what you want and give it to you the best way I know how.
Well, it sounds, you said something earlier about equipment. So in this case, you would have to have some kind of long range equipment, so you're not like right in their
Yes,
face when they're doing different things. You're kind of off in the out of the frame. They're not even seeing you, but you're seeing them, and
right.
it sounds like a perspective type thing. It's really really cool. Actually, I think there is a serious market for this that you're talking about because people are hearing this word authenticity. They want to be caught in their authentic selves. They want to be showing up as their authentic selves. And if that's where the movement of our nation, people are really talking about that. I'm finding it in my coaching. I'm finding it in my work that I do as a training specialist, where people are like, look, for leadership, you got to lead with your heart and your head. You can't just lead
There
with your
you
head,
go.
right? So here you are. You're there to actually take these pictures of a date. So that sounds like a phenomenal opportunity. Even in COVID, like there's certain restaurants that have outdoor spaces and set up a certain way. I went out with a friend of mine, and there was tables outside, and we didn't want to be inside. And the owner said, "Well, look, hold on for a second," and he actually went and put another table out, set it up specifically for us. We felt like, royalty for a moment because I was like, all right, cool. Wait, let me. I wish I would have had a photographer to take that moment,
Right,
but it was like, but there's these moments that are regular, everyday moments that when you look back at them, you go, man, that was a great memory.
right. You're absolutely right.
So as we
My
get ready to wrap up, talk about that, and then tell us how they find you. You know, what kind of way you market to them, etc., so that we can make sure that people who are interested in doing work with you or getting to know you better and getting to know your work better would actually reach out.
Okay. I wanted to go ahead and say this, and then we can go ahead and get wrapped up. One idea that I actually had, my brother, the one who actually uh, recommended that I ought to start this as a business. Uh, Amazing mind. What he and I are in business and everything to do is this. We're looking at purchasing a limousine or maybe a more luxury type car, and we were going to offer, I guess, what they call Uber Prime or something more of a luxury Uber level. And what we are going to do, we was going to offer them a on-scene photographer if they're going out for the night. Um, One of us would be driving, the other one would be taking photos as they go around, and it would be something that we could give it to them either on a disc or give it as far as a package of them renting this limousine for the evening. So those things are actually in works also. Again, if anyone ever wants to reach me as far as for any photography business or anything like that, my number's on my business card. I believe we had a copy of it. I'm on Facebook under Steven Reese Sr. It has all of my contact information. You can go ahead and email me. I'm even on Instagram at Steven underscore captured underscore moments. And if you want to reach out to me, please do. If you're local, or if you're a state away, or South Carolina or Virginia, I'm willing to travel, and we'll discuss whatever that regard in regards as far as mileage and everything. And again, I really enjoyed this, and I look forward to hearing from any of you who are looking at this video this evening.
Well, that is awesome because you mentioned this package that you're putting together with you and your brother, and I had one of my students, one of her friends down the block was expecting mother, and she didn't see herself as a photographer. She thought herself as just someone to take pictures. And
Right.
the idea came to her friend, and she called her and said, "Listen, me and my husband want to go for a walk, and it was fall, the leaves were falling and everything." And she said, "We want you to come out there and just kind of capture us in these, in the fall season with the baby coming and stuff like this." And it turned out phenomenally to the
It
point.
sounds phenomenal. The way you describe it, I would love to do that right there. That sounds like an amazing shoot that she did.
Yeah, and she couldn't believe it to the point that she now, 1 year later, she had to shut down. She has so much business for
Right.
expecting moms in the area that she's in Southern Maryland, they're just calling her, calling her, calling her. Anybody who's gone to the doctor and said, "Guess what?" She's like, "Oh, come take a picture," So she's she's taking all these pictures of people that she never met before, but it created an industry for her. So as we get ready to wrap up, you said this is how to catch, how to find you with Steven Captured the Moment. I'll be putting that in the show notes or somewhere in the comments to, when we wrap up to make sure it's there. But as we get ready to go, Steven, talk to the people and talk to them about your purpose, your passion, and why this is so important for you to do what you love and love what you do, and then encourage them with some encouraging last words or words
Well,
before you leave.
I tell
It's not your
people,
last words; it's words before you
yeah.
leave. I gotta change
Well,
that.
I can tell people this right here, and this is not only photography, but this is just life in general. Um, I want to make sure that when I'm laid down for that last time, someone says something decent about me. I generally I care about people. I love, as no pun intended. I love captured moments in their lives that maybe they could look back at. Uh, but I want to make sure that I have some type of purpose. This is my purpose. This is what I feel I meant to do. This is how passionate I'm about it. This is what I love doing. Again, it's not about the money. Would I love to make a whole bunch of money doing this? Yes. But is it going to discourage me if I don't? Not at all. I ask whoever wants to go and do photography, just pick up a camera and just take pictures. Just start off. If it's nothing more than um, your cell phone, you can go into you can go into some pawn shop and get your basic little DSLR and just start taking them. Start learning the basics of the camera. Start doing these things, and then who knows? You may start feeling about this business the same way as I do. I've never had what I consider a bad client. I've always enjoyed them. I've had many repeat clients. So anyone ever interested in doing these type of things, just go for it because you never know how much you enjoy something unless you try it that first time. That's all I have, Dwayne. I appreciate you going on, and I want to God bless everybody, and I hope that we get some more fellow photographers out there.
Hey, I want to say thank you for answering my call when I called and following up when I asked, hey
Yeah.
man, I'm willing to put you in next month because we had to wait a couple of weeks to get you
Right.
in. But this has been powerful. I think it's been something for people to chew on a little bit. Also, it's empowered them to think about those moments that they haven't captured that might be really cool things. And
Right.
like you said earlier, people are so excited about their cell phone camera, which is cool, but it's nothing like leaving that up to somebody else and you just do what you do.
There you
And
go.
then you come back and you go, wow, I don't remember doing that. And it was like that picture where he was reaching down to make sure your hand was okay coming out of the car or sitting there and
Right.
wiped your mouth because you had a little crummy crumb, whatever, whatever it might be, you
Yeah.
know? So, hey, we want to say thank you. The Passion to Profits TV Nation want to say thank you for Stephen A. Reese Sr. Reach out to him. Stephen captures the moment. I put it in the chat. It also is in the comments section. I'll be putting it again on the Facebook page and of course in YouTube. If you haven't found it on YouTube, is at Discover Your Tag. We're gonna say see you later, not so long. I don't say goodbyes to people I consider friends. So I'll see you. Stay in the green room. I'll be back to talk to you in just a minute as I wrap up the show. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Have a great one. All right, y'all. You heard it from the man, Steven. He gave you some serious information. He talked about capturing the moment and why that's such an important thing. And it's really, really a passion. It's a purpose. So it's purpose in the passion. And like I said earlier, they're synergistic. They're synergistic. They work together. It's hard to see one without the other. Right? It's kind of like those doves. You always see two of them. Right? So listen, thank you very much for riding with me. As I say always, it's been a pleasure. I got another cool show coming up next week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in the next few weeks. I am helping small businesses now. Small business people write your story, right? We talked about write your story, tell your story, film your story, right? So small business, if you're a small business, Maybe what you want is a small book, a book to help you get more clients. I can help you with that because what we're doing as far as not only helping people self-publish their book, but I'm helping businesses create a presence by a small book. And so this is an ebook that you can give away and send away and get you more customers and clients. So if you're interested in that, let me know because that's a new product that we're going to be launching in the next 30 to 60 days. So you can get on the list for what's coming up. I have a boot camp that's about to be released for publishing, for self-publishing. So don't forget about that. But as always, I want to say thank you for riding with us. Thank you for, your support. And again, I'll see you on the next page, the next post, the next YouTube video, or right here on Passion2Profits Live. We'll talk to you. Take care. Be blessed.